Hi there, everyone. This is Carrie Moore of She is Excellence, and I'm so excited to be kicking off our Entrepreneurial Interviewing Series, which we are proudly calling our Game Changers for Business. On a weekly basis, we're going to provide a series of discussions with entrepreneurs where they're going to share their unique perspective of the world, how they use creativity, innovation, and their personal gifts, which I like to call their X factor, to make the business world they choose to be in a better place. To my tribe of friends, family, colleagues, and contacts, please do share back any ideas or topics you'd love to find for us to talk about or to interview. I can't imagine anyone that I would pick to be first other than the person I'm about to introduce to you. And you know, it's for a couple different reasons, but he is our first game changer interview, and he's been the first game changer for She is Excellence. My number one business partner, my brother from another mother. And I didn't have to rehearse that. For those of you who've seen our video series, we've got a YouTube channel out there called She is Excellence, and we also have a Facebook page. Please do join up, sign, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. For those of you who have seen our videos, the first one we released, it's a 3-minute video which we called She is Excellence, Empowering Women. You're going to recognize a little bit of this track, which I'm going to play right now.
I still have a dream.
Come on, Jay.
As long as I can remember, my prayer was, God, use me, use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a bit.
Okay, guys, I could listen to that every time and every day, but for those of you who don't know, that song, On Top of the World, was written and co-produced by Jamin, who I'm introducing to you now. Jamin Dillon, who is an international music producer, and he mentors up-and-coming artists. Jamin, hello to you.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be on the show.
Yeah, me too. This is West Coast to the East Coast, right coast to the left coast. For those of you who don't know, Jamin is based out of LA, and I live here on the other side in Miami. So Jamin is most notable for producing songs for Prodigal Son with the Wu-Tang Clan, which, Jamin, you're wearing the brand tonight. That's awesome. He's made bass beats for Britney Spears, Nicki Minaj at one point or another, and currently you're working on some top secret projects with some major artists that unfortunately you can't name at this time. How cool is it to be Jamin, and how much fun is it to be an international music producer?
I mean, I have such a big passion for music. I just absolutely love music and expression. So, you know, I'm stoked. I love just putting out art and creativity. So I enjoy it. I like being me.
Yes, we like you being you too. So we all begin somewhere, and for you, it began in Newport Beach, California. So tell us, what was it like growing up there?
So I was born in Newport Beach. I grew up in Santa Ana area the majority of my life, and it was cool. I love my parents a lot. When my father was alive, he played music all the time. He'd work his ass off, and then when he'd come home, the first thing he'd want to do is he'd want to play music. So I didn't get to see him a whole lot, but I just saw his passion. He played piano, he played guitar. He could literally pick up any instrument and just would crush it, and he was really incredible. So I always really looked up to him. I love my father. And really started to develop a passion for music, which wasn't so much in playing music, was just admiring it, listening to all sorts of different genres. I would listen to Johnny Mathis, to Michael Jackson, to Snoop Dogg, to old school funk, to, you know, the Doors. So I got this kind of, you know, well-rounded type listening in terms of music, and just loving all sorts of music. And that's really, I think, the basis of when I really started to just develop a passion for admiring music and just really listening and using my ear to know what's good music and what isn't good music.
So I love your answer, and it kind of segues into the next question. So even if you have to repeat it, I've got to ask this question. For those who know me really well, know that I love movie quotes. It's a little bit of the dialogue, and there's some private jokes that Jamin and I have in terms of our creative space together, where movie quotes get us through sometimes some long hours. So I gotta ask a movie quote from Brown Sugar. When did you first fall in love with hip hop?
Honestly, I've never even seen that movie. I'm so sorry. I'm totally leaving you hanging on this one. My bad.
Oh, so hip hop, bass beat. Tell me when you first fell in love with music.
Just, you know, I think, what was it? I think the first, there was a
And
old
Jamin,
store.
I gotta thank you for now, like, making me feel old. But if I'm calculating correctly, knowing when you were born, you were young when that movie came out. So my bad.
It's all good. Well, actually, you know, showing my age too, I remember the first piece of music that I bought was from, there was a store that's not around anymore. It's called Sam Goody.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was, God, this had to have been late 80s or early 90s. And you could go in and you could take a cassette tape, you'd put this tape in, and you'd be able to pick one track on one side and one on the other. So I remembered I picked, I think it was Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby on one side. Or no, it was Vanilla Ice, Play That Funky Music.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I picked Kokomo from the Beach Boys. And from there, I just started kind of having this random eclectic taste of you know, from Vanilla Ice, and then listening to love songs. And I just remember at a young age really feeling kind of the emotion in the music, and I was really moved by that. So that's really where it started for me, is just at a young age, really listening and using my ear and having particular tastes and knowing good music. Because my father always had some of the best stuff, and so he had really good taste. So I was, you know, kind of exposed, so to speak, to all sorts of stuff.
That's so good, and I love how in the work you do, you honor your dad and your brother. I think that's phenomenal. Who are no longer with you. So that's really beautiful, Jamin. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the things I tell my clients, as well as entrepreneurs I sponsor, and in particular, I really don't, age doesn't matter, but if we're going to help millennial entrepreneurs do it right the first time, there are 3 key questions that I ask that I think set the intention of you, your business, and your life. So, Jamin, I know you know these questions, but I'm going to let you answer them for just the value that the audience can get from this. First, who are you? Second, what do you believe? And third, what is your mission?
Awesome. So basically, I'm Jamin. I'm an international music producer, and I'm a mentor to major artists and up-and-coming artists. And really, my mission is to serve artists that don't have the opportunities and teach them how to completely, fully express themselves and express their gift through music, be an inspiration to others, lead a really healthy lifestyle, love God, love my family, and have fun while doing all of it.
That is so good. I love it. So one of the things I believe a lot of people who have worked with me in past roles, and since you and I are a legacy effect here, there's a few years between us, which we're not going to say how many. But one of the things that I'm proud of in my career is that I've been very creative with resources. I have developed a unique aspect of how I like to build relationships with clients, and I'm tenacious about the win. So, net, it's about being uniquely connected with your clients. So all those things don't have to apply for you, Jamin. But tell me, because this applies to all of us, for you, what does it feel like when you're in flow and when you're creating with a client?
That's a great. I love this question. First for me, even before I get to that stage, it's very important to work with a client, an artist, an entrepreneur, because I work with entrepreneurs as well with their brands and helping them express their brand and their messaging. It's really important to work with someone that I really love, that I'm passionate, that I can get behind them, that I really believe in. Like, obviously, with what you do, you're so passionate, and I love what you do. Obviously, that's why, I wanted to work with you so bad. So once that's set, it kind of sets the stage, and I basically open up the space to where we can be completely transparent with each other, extremely vulnerable, and that really helps start the process to where, just anything is possible, because you kind of have to get to a place where when you're in the creative process, every time I come up to writing a new song, I look at a completely blank slate, and I sometimes freak out because I'm thinking I have no idea what I'm going to do. So I start from there and just voice that transparency and really collect as much data as I possibly can from the client or the artist to really, understand their core essence. And even sometimes, their brand or their messaging behind what they do has a lot to do with their childhood or past hurts or whatever. So I'm just open to whatever comes up in those moments to absorb everything. And once I get into that state where, it just clicks, it's incredible. I mean, it's probably, I have songs that are ready to go on the radio, but for me, the creative process of when it's created is the most fun part of it. Obviously hearing one of your songs on the radio or seeing it blowing up on YouTube is cool, but that creative process is just so much fun. And it's really just limitless, and I feel as though there's a part to it where things just get channeled in, and I try to clear myself as much as possible to just be a blank canvas, a blank slate, a clear vessel for the client to really tap into where they're coming into my space. So it's very intimate, but I want that to happen because that's how I channel their message through me and then put my flavor onto it, and we create magic, just like how we did with this video. It was, there's no way that I could have created the messaging and the verbiage and all the other stuff if you didn't really fully give yourself and give me the data and the tools and your life story. So that's really where that came from. And just that whole process to me is the best. I love it.
Yes. And since I consider myself a client of yours, as well as you are an invaluable business partner to me, I want to just my aspect of that process. And for those of you out there who might be thinking about making a change in your career, I left a 20 plus year career in the corporate space. And you could say there was a certain style that's expected in how you present and talk that wasn't necessarily totally authentic to me. It's a part of me. But my soul essence is what you're seeing here and how Jamin and I are speaking and talking. And as I was coming into creating, I'm actually in the process of creating two businesses, one which is launched. But in that process, working with Jamin, I was able to tell him, like, here's what I want to say. Here's what I want to do. I love music, and have been a musician since I was 5. And please help me get there. And that's the thing that I think is just a phenomenal gift of yours, is that you pushed me, you helped me get there. And then the vision I had of what I wanted to say, just wow, it was there. I'm like, oh my God, it was in my brain. So anyway, I just want to share that because I think that is applicable across different businesses, but you being in flow and what you produce is phenomenal.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So as we continue to teach our amazing, wonderful millennial entrepreneurs out there that are listening to us, I was curious, since I'm talking about being a client, and I hope that I'm in the ideal client bucket. So we've talked a little bit about that. Jamin, tell us a little bit, because this is a key thing to recognize. What is not your ideal client?
That's a good question. So I think, I've worked with all sorts. The clients that I would probably deem not an ideal client, I'm appreciative of them because I learn. I would definitely say, clients that basically expect, they expect more than what you've really kind of set out to do. So, I think the lesson too, which what I've learned in my process is really getting clear on what the expectations are, because someone that comes in and they, are expecting the world, but you're really offering, a state or something, they're just not going to be happy. No matter what you can make the most beautiful piece of art, they're just not going to be happy because they have different expectations. So that would definitely not be an ideal client. An ideal client would be someone like you, where you're willing to put in. We're clear on what the outcome is going to be, and then also most importantly is really just the willingness to do what it takes and to really get into the flow, because sometimes we'll start with a project, we may have a particular idea, but as I'm going through it, I may have something that sparks that's even 10 times better. So, having that creative lane to be able to do that, which it may cost a little bit more. However, sometimes that happens in the process, but it turns out to be the most incredible thing. And that happens a lot. And that's really, I think, a thing where people in creative arts and getting into flow, they get so stuck because they try to hold to one outcome, where if you're just open to whatever comes out at the end is what's supposed to be there, then magic is what's going to come out. And I think that's what music and creativity is really all about, is flow. There is no logic to it. Yes. So people that can understand that and can go with the flow are going to be freaking awesome to work with.
Right, which is such an important skill as being an entrepreneur, and knowing how to go with the flow and to take the waves and to see the path through. So excellent answer. So I love the word culture, and I believe that it is the rhythm of how we really create a world that works for everybody. So can you give me, Jamin, what is your definition of culture, and how do you leverage that in your business?
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you two parts to it. So first, what I thought about culture before was really how people act in your company, how they act and how people get along. But actually, as I started working with you, I've learned so much to where I see culture as so much that it really starts from you. So the things that, culture is how your employees react, how they connect with you, how they get work done, how the flow works, how your communication is with them. And I think that the things that people miss in terms of culture is that culture starts from you. It starts from the person who puts in. So the things that you don't like about your employees, there's something that you're not doing to create that situation. So those things need to be fixed at home first. So I see culture is me and how I interact into my environment. So if I have a pool and it's totally clear, and then I start creating culture out of it, I'm dropping my personal culture into it. Mm-hmm. Whatever part of me that's contaminated or I haven't worked on or is not clear, it's going to start to create that culture in that pool. So the good news is that you can actually go back and fix that. So for me, culture really starts here.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks to you. I mean, you've totally blown the culture piece out of the water for me, and that's completely, just in which working with you as you being my client, I've learned so much about restructuring my business and adding culture and doing more work on myself and how that's reflecting the culture of with my clients, with people that I work with, and it's been amazing. And I know I still have so much more room to grow, and I'm stoked and happy to do that. I'm just grateful for you for that.
Thank you. Living legacy right here. I don't mind being the older one. Thank you, little grasshopper. Okay. So another thing that I love about millennials in particular, but I believe it will continue to be a component for millennial entrepreneurs, for if you're hiring millennials or one day realizing the world will be ruled by millennials, is their sincere commitment to community. And, it's about who you work for, who you call your friends, how you connect, that you want to be a part of something that's making a contribution to where you live, your community, your city, your family, or the greater aspect of the world that you're a part of. So as a millennial entrepreneur who's experienced great success so early in life, I mean, it's truly impressive some of the things that you've done, Jamin. How do you see your business growing and developing and bringing communities together?
The way I see it bringing communities together is, with my new program, I'm working specifically with up-and-coming artists and even major artists and starting with them and how they interact. Kind of like the same thing with culture, like getting them more clear on not just, okay, you're an artist, that's great, but what's behind that? What are you really into? So if their mission is to, help people get healthier, or they want to bring awareness to racism or whatever, or they want to create more peace. Mm-hmm. It's helping interject that into their brand and then helping them get to their audience. So finding out who really is their audience, who's their genre, and then basically creating community within their audience. So the more clear they are on their message, and as their audience grows, their audience is going to really, because the audience, fans follow artists and they want to know about them. So they're going to know that, hey, Johnny so-and-so is an amazing country artist, but he also, helps save kids that don't have fathers and creates opportunities for them. So they get the opportunity to inject that and teach their fans the same stuff too. So it's really cool. That's really how each artist that I can help, I know that they're going to help promote their cause to their audience and their community.
Yes, that's again, the legacy aspect, and I think for those of us who are not millennials, I'm a Gen Xer, but those of us, I believe we've got 4 or 5 generations in the workforce, and this is the collaboration and connection that we can have amongst each other, because I think you could easily think, if you're an older individual, that working on your mission is something that you do later in life when you're more established, or maybe it's phase 2 of your career, or when you retire. And I'm in one of those buckets. I didn't retire though. But what's so amazing about this oncoming generation of millennials is that they are incorporating that in day one. And I think that's going to be tremendous for us in the world and how we're going to make it a better place. So you mentioned about your online program, and I think it's exciting. You're in the final beta stages of an online mentoring program for singers and songwriters. So for anybody out there who's listening to me and this interview, and you have a hobby, or if this is your core passion, Jamin is the guy that you might want to think about in terms of being your sponsor or mentor. But just again, because I want to be the teacher of the tools you use, what's your intention with this business and this program in 2017? So what will success look like for you with that program?
Success will be, successfully teaching artists how to record their own music, how to basically become their own producer in a sense, and then learn how to market their music and help them to identify who their audience really is, who's the genre, how many people are really out there that are interested in that type of music. Like if you take, for instance, there's 7.125 billion people in the world. If you took country as just one genre, 10% of the world listens to country. So if you do the math, that's, over 700 million people that like country. So knowing that data, even if the artist is not very good, like let's say they completely suck. If you took 1% of 700 million, that means that there's still 7 million people in the world that have an interest that would really appreciate this person's music, right? Like obviously, let's pray to God that they don't suck and they're really good. But
well, if they work with you, they won't.
Exactly. But you get the point. So it's knowing that data now. Okay, now I know in my mind there's 7 million people that are interested. Now how do I find them? So let's arm the artist with the data of how to find them, how to talk to them, and how to really reach them, and then bring them into their community, right? Mm-hmm. So the more artists that I can take on to be able to teach them these tools that have taken me 15 years to figure out, that's success to me, and that makes me happy because that's, to me, is complete expression, right? Expression is obviously recording your music to your fullest potential and doing it at your deepest core, but then you need to share it. Part of it is sharing it and letting it go and putting it out in the universe, So if you're learning how to record music, because I work with people all the time that are incredible that you will probably never hear, that won't do anything because they don't have the tools yet. So luckily I get to work with the ones that are willing to do the work. So having all these amazing songs and then now being able to get to share them, that's complete expression to me. And that's beautiful. That's successful. When I see them succeed, I succeed. I feel amazing that I can help someone do that. And it helps their community, their tribe, their message. It's just a full 360 for me. And I love it. And I could jump around and do backflips because it makes me so happy to see someone express themselves like that.
Very good. So 2 more questions. So the second to last one, what advice on any level do you have for someone out there that has a dream about starting a business and hasn't? Maybe they might be feeling some of the pressure of expectations of going the traditional path. What do you think or feel that if you could see them, what would you want to say to them right now in terms of being true to who they are?
I think the first thing I would ask them is, what do you really want?
Oh, yeah.
What do you really want? And have them really get clear on that. Because I think a lot of people go into things and they do things because their parents want them to go to college or they want them to have the 9-to-5 job and have security. But really, there is no security. So if you can get clear on what you really want to do, frickin' go for it and do it. Because you only get one shot, really, in this life in terms of going after what you love, So the quicker you can find out what you want, the more successful you'll become, because there's obviously that road where you have to figure out now, okay, I know what I want. How is this going to work now? And that's usually the trek. But the sooner they can figure that out, the faster they're going to get success.
Excellent. So my final question, it's a last principle that I'm going to share with the audience, and something you've heard me talk about. Language. Language is so important in terms of how we manage the mindset of the entrepreneur, the conversations that we have with ourselves, with our employees, with our business partners. So I'm going to ask for a fun fact about you. So
Okay.
Jamin, give me a couple of adjectives or words, whatever that naturally and instinctively comes to mind, and how you would describe how you see yourself.
I definitely see myself as love and fun and expressed.
Fun-loving expression, yes.
Mhm.
Equals international music producer and sponsor and mentor to up-and-coming singer and songwriters. Jamin, it's been amazing having you as so many things, but this first interview, the Game Changer series. Again, I want to remind everyone we have a YouTube channel. It is called sheisexcellence.com. We have a Facebook page. We would love, and I mean the collective we, meaning Jamin and I, would love if you would join, subscribe, share your comments. We really want to create a tribal effect of a mentoring community and a sponsorship community of entrepreneurs, really of all levels. But most definitely, I'm focusing on people like you, Jamin, people who are indeed going to make the world a better place, and you already are today. So any closing comments?
Just thank you so much. And I anyone who's listening, I highly suggest checking out Carrie. And, you know, if you're in a place where you're looking for inspiration, you're looking to, you know, you're either just starting out or you're very successful and you really want to take things to a complete different level, then I would highly recommend working with Carrie, because she's amazing, and it's in her name. Her name is Carrie because she cares. She really does care and has a huge heart. So if she says something, she's going to make it happen. She'll stick through it till the end until it happens. She's incredible. So I highly recommend working with her.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jamin. All right. Talk to everyone soon. In a week, we'll have another entrepreneur coming up, so stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye-bye.